Tonight, a pair of Fox News exclusives as we continue our coverage of the Russia collusion investigation, the Trump dossier, and the opposition research firm behind that. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen has new information tonight on ties between the Justice Department and the people behind the Trump dossier, a connection that's really raising more questions tonight. Good evening, James.
Brett, good evening. New disclosures confirmed to Fox News by top investigators on the House Intelligence Committee show that the link between Fusion GPS, the firm behind that anti-Trump dossier, and a top Justice Department official ran deeper than previously known. Fox News was the first to tell you last week about the abrupt demotion on Wednesday of Bruce Ohr, the Associate Deputy Attorney General, who was stripped of that title and his fourth-floor office at Maine Justice amid an ongoing investigation into his contacts with the two leading figures in the controversy over the dossier, meetings that DOJ officials told Fox News Ohr had withheld from his superiors. House Intelligence Committee staff uncovered that Ohr met last year with both Christopher Steele, the former British spy who authored the dossier with input from Russian sources, and that Ohr also met last year with Glenn Simpson, the founder of Fusion GPS, the opposition research firm that paid Mr. Steele with funding from the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee. Now Fox News has confirmed that Nellie Ohr, an academic Russia expert and the wife of Bruce Ohr, worked for Fusion GPS last year. Indeed was paid by the opposition research firm through the summer and fall of 2016, a timeline that places her on the company payroll around the time the dossier was funneled to the FBI, and perhaps up through the election, some 2 weeks after which her husband met secretly with Glenn Simpson. The House Intelligence Committee Chairman Nunes told Fox News in a statement today is looking into all facets of the connections between the Department of Justice and Fusion GPS, including Mr. Ohr, unquote. DOJ, which initially claimed that Bruce Ohr had been stripped of his top-line duties because he was holding down 2 jobs at DOJ, and that was, quote, unusual, today had no comment about the revelation that Mrs. Ohr worked for Fusion GPS last year. Brett.
James, quickly, and I know we don't have these answers as this investigation continues, but how is it that the top of this investigation, the people in the Department of Justice, could not have known that there was any of these ties for so long?
Yeah, that's what they've told us, and if that's the case, it wouldn't speak well for them. But it almost defies belief that Bruce Ohr, as he was meeting with the principals behind Fusion GPS, wasn't creating some kind of paper trail to alert folks to what he was up to. But we expect to learn more about all of this as the weeks unfold.
And we will follow it. James, thank you. The leading Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee made some of his most forward-leaning comments yet about the investigation, insisting that evidence that the Russians colluded with the Trump campaign may be circumstantial, but it's nevertheless, he said, damning. California Congressman Adam Schiff made that comment Sunday.
We do know this. The Russians offered help. The campaign accepted help. The Russians gave help, and the president made full use of that help. And that is pretty damning, whether it is proof beyond a reasonable doubt of conspiracy or not.
Questions obviously remain about that shadowy back-channel handoff to Republican Senator John McCain of the unverified dossier prepared by former British MI6 spy Christopher Steele, who was, as you remember, working for Glenn Simpson's firm Fusion GPS. Tonight, Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge talks with a former senior British diplomat who says he was right in the middle of all of it.
My mission was essentially to be a go-between and a messenger to tell the senator that such a dossier existed.
Fox News spoke to Sir Andrew Wood at the Halifax International Security Forum in Canada. As Britain's ambassador to Moscow from 1995 to 2000, Wood witnessed the end of Russian President Boris Yeltsin and the rise of Vladimir Putin. Just after the election in November 2016, Senator John McCain spoke at the same security conference. Wood says he was instructed by former British spy Christopher Steele to reach out to the senior Republican about the unverified Trump dossier.
Senator John McCain, a fine man.
Wood insists he never read the dossier that his good friend and longtime colleague prepared. It was commissioned by opposition research firm Fusion GPS and funded by the DNC and Clinton campaign.
August, he came to me to tell me what was in it and why it was important. He made it very clear that this was raw intelligence, but it needed putting in a proper context before we could judge it fully.
July and August are critical months in the Clinton email and Russia investigations. In July, then FBI Director James Comey recommended against prosecution for Clinton's mishandling of classified information.
We are expressing to justice our view that no charges are appropriate in this case.
And the same month, the FBI opened the Russia probe. In August, Wood says Steele briefed him on the dossier.
He'd already been in contact with the FBI, and he said there was corroborating evidence in the United States, from which I assumed he was working with an American company.
British court records obtained by Fox News show Steele was directed by Fusion GPS founder Glenn Simpson to push the research to 5 American media outlets.
I've never heard of Mr. Simpson. I have heard of Fusion as the name of the people that Chris was referring to when he referred to working with some people with a team in the United States.
3 weeks after Donald Trump won the presidential election, at the Canadian Security Conference, the details were finalized for the dossier handoff to Senator McCain.
I think that,
along with the senator, Sir Andrew Wood, and McCain Institute staffer David J. Kramer attended the Canadian conference. British court records state McCain told Kramer to get a personal briefing from Steele outside of London and then return to Washington, D.C. Fusion GPS would provide Senator McCain with hard copies. In January, Senator McCain gave the dossier to the FBI that already had its own copy from Steele. The senator's office had no comment and referred Fox to a previous statement that said he could not judge its accuracy. Kramer has not responded to multiple requests for comment.
A year after the election here on Capitol Hill, some lawmakers complain it's roadblock after roadblock. They even accuse the FBI and Justice Department of slow-walking documents about the dossier, even though President Trump's political appointees are running both departments.
Did the FBI pay for a dossier on the president?
Questions about the dossier are something that are better taken up in separate settings.
In Washington, Catherine Herridge, Fox News.